Hello guys, welcome on the channel again. Today we will be talking about some new challenging triplets, and I call them that because two of them do not have an equivalent sound in English. So it's a new sound that most non-Arabic native speakers probably never experienced it or got used to. But that doesn't mean that they are hard as long as you practice, because practice pretty much makes everything easier. So without further ado, let's get to know these letters. Alright guys, so the first letter of our triplet today is the first letter of Arabic. And as always, let's start off by showing how it is pronounced and written in its general or in independent form. So the first letter of Arabic is pronounced as Geem, Geem, Geem. And as always, repeat after me, Geem, Geem, Geem. And the sound of the letter Geem comes from the middle of the tongue and is equivalent to the letter G in English, as in the word gold or garage. And by the way you pronounce the letter Geem differs in modern standard Arabic and other Arabic dialects. For instance, this letter is pronounced in a much stronger manner in modern standard Arabic, but it is much softer in Egyptian Arabic dialect. But since we are focused on Egyptian Arabic, I will obviously show you how to pronounce it in Egyptian Arabic dialect. Alright, now it's time to move on to see how it is written in its general or independent form. Alright, to make it easier for you to memorize how to write the letter Geem, when you write the letter Geem, imagine a pregnant woman that got a big belly.
Oh, hell no, man.
Now that big belly represents the curved shape, while the baby inside is a dot. Now lastly, that belly is attached to that curved line. Obviously, when you write it, you need to start from the curved line from the left to right. But I just gave you that example so it can be easier to remember. And that's literally how to write it. Alright, now it's time to move on to its different form in a different position of a word. Alright, let's start off to see how the letter Geem looks like when it is written in the beginning. When it is written in the beginning, Geem is always connected or linked to the letter after it. Connected form of Geem looks kinda different than its general form, and I will obviously show you how to write the connected form of Geem as we speak. Let's take two examples to make that clear. If we look at those two words, the first one, which is called Gamal, Gamal, which means camel in Arabic, and the second one called Gisr, Gisr, which means bridge in Arabic. In those two words, you can clearly notice that there is a Geem in the beginning and is connected to the letter after it. Now let's move on to see the form of Geem when it is written in the middle. In the middle, Geem is always connected, and it will either be connected to the letter after it or connected to both letters before and after it at the same time. Let's take two examples again. You see the word Hagar, Hagar, which means stones in Arabic, and the word Rijl, Rijl, which means leg in Arabic. In both examples, you can clearly spot the Geem in the middle connected, but the Geem in the word Hagar is connected to both letters before and after it, while the Geem in the word Rijl is only connected to the letter after it. Now last but not least for Geem, let's see how it looks at the end. Geem at the end is either connected or not connected, and in both cases at the end, just write the Geem how you write it in its general form. Let's look into the case where it is not connected. Let's take the word tag, tag, which means crown in Arabic, and the word abrog, abrog, which means towers in Arabic. You can clearly see here that the Geem in both examples are not connected or separated, and that's because they are written at the end of the word. And by the way, you can also spot two alifs and one b in these words as well. Those two letters that we learned in the previous lessons. Alright, now if we look at the word talg, talg, which means ice in Arabic, and the word muntag, muntag, which means product in Arabic. In both examples, you can notice that the Geem is connected at the end and is written the same way you write it in its general form, except that it is simply connected to the letter before it. Alright guys, now that we talked about the letter Geem, let's move on and talk about the next letter. So the next letter is the sixth letter of Arabic and the second of our today's triplet. So once again, let's see how it is pronounced and written in its general or independent form. Alright, so the sixth letter of Arabic is pronounced as Ha, Ha, Ha. Repeat after me, Ha, Ha, Ha. And the letter Ha doesn't particularly has an equivalent sound in English. The closest sound to it in English is the sound of the letter H, but that's just the closest sound to it, not how you properly pronounce it. Because there are a lot of non-native Arabic speakers who pronounce this letter with the H sound, which is not correct, because there is another Arabic letter that we will talk about later in the course that has the same H sound. So we need to know how to properly pronounce the letter Ha as it should be, also because our goal in the channel is to sound like a native speaker. So the sound of the letter Ha comes from the base of the throat and it is pronounced in a soft manner. Alright, to make it more clear and much easier for you to pronounce, imagine it's getting really hot and you're feeling thirsty, then you start to take a sip of a really cold refreshing drink. Then you might breathe out with a sighing sound like and that's literally the sound of the letter Ha. Alright, to make it more clear and make sure that you are pronouncing it right, when you pronounce the letter Ha and put your hands in front of your mouth, you will feel a puff of your breath on your palm. So Ha is a pharyngeal letter, which means a sound is produced from the back of the throat, and the part that is responsible for getting its sound is called the epiglottis. An epiglottis is a flap of tissue that sits beneath the tongue at the back of the throat, and controlling the epiglottis gives us the sound of the letter Ha. And that happens when the epiglottis moves backward, but not fully. It moves backward in a way that still allows air to pass through, and that gives us the sound of the letter Ha. And that's pretty much everything when it comes to this letter pronunciation. Alright, so there is one more thing that I would like to add before we move on to the next section. When I show you Arabic words with the letter Ha in them and show you how to write them in English letters, I would normally write the letter Ha as a letter H, but since the letter H is not the best way to refer to it, I should use another method instead. But what exactly should I use when there isn't any equivalent sound to the letter Ha in English? Well, that's when numbers come in. Egyptians sometimes use a different method of chatting to each other online, called Franco. Franco is when you use numbers to write Arabic letters that don't have an English letter equivalent. For example, we write the number 7 for the letter Ha, so every time you see the number 7 in a word, just read it as a Ha sound. There are other numbers for other Arabic letters without an English equivalent, and I will mention them as we get to them. This whole method is just used as an explanation, but obviously when you write in Arabic, you need to do it in an actual Arabic letters. So anyway, whenever you see the number 7 in a word, in my examples or online, know that it means the letter Ha. Alright, now let's move on to see how you write the letter Ha in its general or independent form. Well, when it comes to writing the letter Ha, if you know how to write the letter Geem, then you pretty much know how to write the letter Ha. I refer to the letter Geem as a pregnant woman that carries her baby inside. Now with the letter Ha, this pregnant woman has finally delivered the baby and he's not inside anymore. So the letter Ha is basically the letter Geem without the dot inside. Alright, now it's time to move on to see the different form of Ha in different position of a word. So basically, Geem and Ha have the same exact rules. So when Ha is written in the beginning, it is always connected to the letter after it as well. Let's take two examples now. If we look at those two words, the first one, which is called hizam, hizam, which means belt in Arabic, and the second one called husan, husan, which means horse in Arabic. In those two words, you can clearly notice that there is ha in the beginning and is connected to the letter after it. In the same way as Geem, when ha is written in the middle, it is always connected, and it will either be connected to the letter after it or connected to both letters before and after it at the same time. Let's take two examples again. You see the word sahaba, sahaba, which means cloud in Arabic, and the word rahma, rahma, which means mercy in Arabic. In both examples, you can also clearly spot the letter ha in the middle connected, but the ha in sahaba is connected to both letters before and after it, and you can also spot an alif and be in the middle, while the ha in the word rahma is only connected to the letter after it. Now lastly, for the letter ha at the end is either connected or not connected, and in both cases at the end, just write the ha how you write it in its general form as well. Let's look into the case where it is not connected. Let's take the word garrah, garrah, which means surgeon in Arabic, and the word nagah, nagah, which means success in Arabic. You can clearly see here that the ha in both examples are not connected or separated, and that's because they are written at the end of the word. Now if we look at the word malh, malh, which means salt in Arabic, and the word sath, sath, which obviously means surface in Arabic, in both examples you can notice that the ha is connected at the end and is written the same way you write it in its general form, except that it is simply connected to the letter before it. Alright, now it's time to talk about the seventh letter of Arabic and the last letter for today. And once again, let's see how it is pronounced and written in its general or independent form. Alright, so the seventh letter of Arabic is pronounced as kha, kha, kha. Repeat after me, kha, kha, kha. And the letter kha is a heavy letter, and its sound is equivalent to the kha sound as in the name Bach, who is obviously a famous music German composer. But kha itself doesn't have an equivalent in English as well. And the way you pronounce the letter kha is by imagining someone who is doing grunting noises within the throat, where the air comes from the upper throat to the mouth. It is also similar to someone clearing his or her throat, and that gives us the sound of the letter kha. So kha is a velarized letter, which means its sound comes from the back of the mouth. So the sound of the letter kha comes from the articulation of the wrist back of the tongue with the soft palate as the air passes through. And the soft palate is a soft bar located at the back roof of your mouth, behind the hard palate. And the soft palate ends with the uvula, which is a fleshy extension of the soft palate as we just mentioned. And the uvula hangs above the throat, so do not confuse the soft palate with the uvula. With the letter kha, we are using the soft palate and not the uvula. You can even use your fingers to feel the soft palate. One last thing I would like to add here is that kha is a voiceless sound, which means you don't use your vocal cords to pronounce it. And I mentioned that because we will take another velarized letter in a future lesson where you need to use your vocal cords to pronounce it. But once again, with the letter kha, you don't use your vocal cords. Alright, now that we know how to pronounce the letter kha, let's move on and see how to write it in its general form. Alright, we refer to the letter ha as a pregnant woman who got her baby delivered. Now with the letter kha, the baby is not just out, but he is also held outside above that woman. So basically, the letter kha is a letter ha, but there is a dot written above the basic body form. And the Franco number for the letter kha is number 5. So whenever you see the number 5 in my examples, you need to know that it refers to the letter kha in Arabic. Alright, now it's time to move on and see the different form of the letter kha in different position of a word. Similar to Geem and Ha, Kha got the same exact rules. So when written in the beginning, it is always connected to the letter after it as well. Let's take two examples again. If you look at those two words, the first one, which is called khatim, khatim, which means ring in Arabic, and the second one called khashab, khashab, which means wood in Arabic. In those two words, you can clearly notice that there is a kha in the beginning and is connected to the letter after it. When kha is written in the middle, it is always connected, and it will either be connected to the letter after it or connected to both letters before and after it at the same time, as mentioned before. Let's take two examples again. You see the word ikhtira, ikhtira, which means invention in Arabic, and the word makhadda, makhadda, which means pillow in Arabic. In both examples, you can also clearly spot the kha in the middle connected, but the kha in ikhtira is only connected to the letter after it, while the kha in makhadda is connected to both letters before and after it. Now lastly, for the letter kha at the end, kha at the end is either connected or not connected, and in both cases at the end, just write the kha how you write it in its general form as well. Let's look into the case where it is not connected. Let's take the word sarukh, sarukh, which means rocket in Arabic, and the word firakh, firakh, which means chicken in Arabic. You can clearly see here that the kha in both examples are not connected or separated, and that's because they are written at the end of the word. Now if we look at the word tabkh, tabkh, which means cooking in Arabic, and the word battikh, battikh, which means watermelon in Arabic, in both examples you can notice that the kha is connected at the end and is written the same way you write it in its general form, except that it is simply connected to the letter before it. Exactly the same rules as Geem-Ha-Kha once again. Now last thing to talk about today is a very quick notice that we already gone through in previous lessons. You can find multiple Geem-Ha and Kha in the same word. Let me provide you with three examples for more clarity. If we look at the word gargir, gargir, which means irregular in Arabic, the word sahih, sahih, which means correct in Arabic, and the word khokh, khokh, which means the fruit peach in Arabic. In those three examples, you can clearly spot same multiple letters that we talked today in the same words, where in the first example, the Geem is written in the beginning, in the middle, and they are connected. In the second example, the letter Ha is written in the middle and they are connected, while with the last example, both Kha are written in the beginning connected and at the end not connected, and so on with the examples. And that's it for our quick notice today. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope you found this lesson easy and helpful, and if you got any question regarding this lesson, then make sure to drop them in the comment section below and I will gladly answer them for you. In the next lesson, we will not just go through one, but two sets of 12 letters. So get ready for them. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next Arabic Ark.